Me, it's just a blowout. Ay. Every week, putting numbers on the board, we show out. Ay. All it took was just a bit of patience with the grind. You can never hold it back. Let's
in this game already.
Oh, yeah.
For this
All right, join us now on Drive the Lane. I'm going to go ahead and say the best college dunker of all time, Sam Thompson. Welcome to the show.
Probably fair. That's probably fair. What's up? What's going on, guys?
Sam, pleasure having you on, man. This has been a long time coming. I echo what Andrew said. The only thing that I'll add to beyond Sam being on some of the best Ohio State teams in recent memory is that he's from Chicago, just like me and Andrew. Very important fact. Not a
Andrew,
ton.
I didn't realize you were from Chicago. Andrew, where are you from?
I'm from
what high school?
The mean streets of Highland Park.
There we go.
Yeah.
So
so Sam, thanks for coming on, man.
Too.
We're excited to talk hoops.
Yeah, man, for sure. Thanks for having me. Enjoy the show.
I think first and foremost, people definitely interested in an update to where you're at right now because it was a bit of a recent transaction. So if you want to give a little bit of an update of what you're up to right now from a basketball point of view.
Yeah, man. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say when I'm recording this. So it is early 2022 when I'm recording this. I am in the NBA G League right now, man. This is year 7 for me playing pro ball. I'm 7 years removed from Ohio State. I've played on 4 continents or 3 continents, played in a lot of different places. Yeah, but this year, given the state of the world and COVID, given the state of all the border closings, all the lockdown protocol abroad, I thought it'd be a fun opportunity to come back to the G League again. You know, I always wanted to give it another try before I retired. So this felt like the year. So I am with the Miami Heat organization in Sioux Falls with the Sioux Falls Skyforce. Looking forward to making it happen.
Awesome. And we've had a lot of, former Ohio State players, former pros, current pros, all the likes. What do you think in terms of overseas versus the G League life? What are some pros, some cons? What you've done it all. What are your thoughts there?
So I mean, the biggest pro is that you're stateside. You know what I mean? Like it's when you get on a plane and you get off and you're in Salt Lake City. I don't have any family in Salt Lake City. I don't know anyone in Salt Lake City, but I can read the signs. Like I can speak the language. I know what restaurants are gonna be waiting for me there. So man, just being at home in the States is the biggest thing for me. That's always what I enjoy the most. And then you're always pursuing that dream of eventually getting called up. So having that sort of in front of you and so readily available for you, especially this year, is a big thing in the G League. I think talent wise, man, the G League has grown so much. I haven't been in the G League in I think 4 years. But the G League has just grown so much, man. NBA teams are sending their guys down with more regularity, and they're using it much more as a tool for player development than just than just another league. So, I think the G League probably has the best young talent in the world. Usually, this year it's obviously a little tough with all the 10 days and the COVID stuff. But the G League, man, is a very talent-heavy league. So it's great, man, and I enjoy it.
In your opinion, what are, NBA teams really looking for to pull up in a 10-day? Because it's not always, all right, this is the top scorer in the G League. He's the first guy to get pulled up. So what have you noticed are like kind of the key things that get people pulled up?
Yeah, well, I mean, the one thing I'll say is obviously scoring the ball is great. But it's almost never just scoring the ball, I mean, these NBA teams they're gonna be paying somebody 30, 35, 40 million dollars to get their buckets. So, they are looking for G League guys to be role players, stand in the corner, shoot the ball, defend hard, dive on the floor, wave the towel, be a good pro, be a good teammate, anything like that, man. It's we're really the grinders, we're really the Swiss Army knives, and that we have to be able to do a lot of stuff. And just really do our jobs when called upon. So, that's the ultimate goal, of course, is to get called up. And it's really about playing a role, any role, defending, rebounding, screening, shooting as best as you can.
And, obviously we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't talk about Obviously your career, which we've touched on. We got to rewind and talk about the Ohio State days because at the end of the day, this is an Ohio State podcast.
Right.
What are your most fond memories of your time at Ohio State? What do they revolve around?
It's always going to be the people, man. You guys have been in locker rooms. You guys know that, like, you really go to battle with those guys sometimes for years at a time, man. Day in and day out, you guys are grinding. You guys are on the right side of things. You guys are on the wrong side of heartbreak. And you really develop that bond with people when you're at college, playing college ball. So the first thing, of course, would be the people, the coaches, the managers, the players, the fans. That's the thing that immediately sticks out. And then, we had some good teams, man. So, we had some really, really good battles during my time there, man. I always look back fondly on the Michigan State games, the Michigan games. Indiana and Wisconsin were the other two that are always a battle for us. So, man, it was just fun running the Big Ten gauntlet with the group of guys that grow into being your family.
So, it's no secret. We mentioned it right away. Your dunks are pretty special.
Yeah.
Your Twitter name is Slam I Am. So
yeah.
You have a specific dunk from when you were at Ohio State that you were like, that is my all-time favorite dunk at Ohio State?
There's two I can think of. One was I think in my sophomore year, was at Purdue in the first half. They had a guy named AJ Hammond there. Purdue always has like some 7'1", 260-pound big running around. So they had AJ Hammonds there. I went baseline in the first half and dunked on him. And that was one of my first like big dunks. I played spotty minutes my freshman year. I was starting my sophomore year, and that was one of the biggest early dunks. And then there was a dunk at home against Michigan State. And again, those Michigan State days are always fun. I think this would have been my junior year, the second time we played them. So this would have been at home. And I got one of the inbound lives that I always used to get. So, man, I put Matt Costello on a poster. I got an and one there. So, yeah, that one sticks out too.
What was that inbounds play called? Because we ran it, we just missed overlapping. And
yeah,
when you graduated, I came in and we ran that same out of bounds play, except for we were running it for Kada or Mark Loving, and it wasn't working out the same way. Do you remember what it was called?
So the play, we stole it from Kansas because Bill Self ran it with Ben McLemore and dunked on us like 4 times. So we made a small tweak and we stole it from Kansas. So we called it any variation of Kansas. Some we called it the K, we called it U, we called it Kansas. Teams would start to pick up on it, so we started trying to mix up the call, but any variation of Kansas. And then there was another one. That was the one where I kind of looped around and did the out of bounds play. And there was another one where I just sort of waited and saw what developed, and we just called that line.
That's the one I'm thinking of, where you're like acting like you're a decoy, and then all of a sudden you just cut straight to the rim and it's game over. We got it a couple times. It's a really straightforward play, but it like makes some crazy highlights. It's insane.
Super straightforward. You line it up. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what the other 3 guys do. I think they kind of just take up space. One has to curl ball side, one has to get the other side of the rim. And all I'm doing is watching my man. I'm not even watching that action. I'm watching my man. And if my man turns his head to look at the inbounder, if my man turns his head to look for a screen or something like that, I'm gone, man. I'm darting past him, and it was usually Kraft or Shannon just putting it up at the rim. And that's where a lot of highlights were made.
It really is unbelievable. You mentioned Aaron, you mentioned Shannon. You played with a lot of not only great players, but great dudes. So I got 2 questions for you revolving around that. Number 1, who's the best teammate that you ever played with? And number 2, and I think I know the answer, but number 2 is who's the best player you played with?
The player is easy. I'm not gonna lie. The player, we'll start there, is Deangelo Russell, man. He's and I played with some really Sully, man. Sully was unreal. but there's just an ease with which Deangelo Russell plays the game of basketball, man. Like we joke about him not changing gears or anything like that, but it's like he really just floats on the basketball court, man. He'll throw passes that you have no thought about, the ball getting through. He'll make shots that are ridiculous. He can post up, he can shoot the three, he can get to the rim. When he decides to, he can dunk on dude. Like, he is really unbelievable. So D Russ is the pretty easy answer for best player I've ever played with. Favorite team, or what did you say? Best teammate or favorite teammate?
Best teammate, favorite teammate, up to you for interpretation.
So there are two. There's two. I mean, first of all, I played with some great guys, man. Great teammates. Kraft, like you said, always sticks out. Amazing teammate. But the two guys that are sticking out most to me is Shannon Scott, who was very similar to Kraft. It was just that I came in with Shannon. So he was my roommate all 4 years. He was, we went to battle together all 4 years. So Shannon sticks out in that regard. But, man, Jayshawn Tate, I only got him for 1 year, but Jayshawn Tate was an unbelievable teammate, man, unbelievable dude. And you see the type of success he's having right now in the league. But JT, man, he just had an energy and a toughness about him that was contagious from day one. So probably, we'll call it Jayshawn.
Before you ask another question, my favorite Deangelo Russell story, and again, I did not overlap with you and D. Russell, and I missed you guys by a year, but I got tons of residual stories from Coach Mata, from the managers, from whoever, and the one that sticks out the most based on what you said is from Robbie Rucky, who told me that one time you guys were scrimmaging with refs, and you knew that the whole day was just scrimmaging. Deangelo walked in like from class, like didn't even warm up, looks at Robbie and goes, "I'm going to get a triple-double today." And sure enough, he got a triple-double
That's about right.
And those scrimmages are not a game. Like, it's half a game, and it's
right.
And it's just, it's just easy. Whatever he wants to do, it's just easy.
You knew it was different early on when he got on campus. Were you there with Coach Rich?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you know how brutal Coach Rich's summer conditioning was, those 6 a.m.s and stuff like that. And sometimes we'd play right there after those morning workouts, and everyone's exhausted, everyone's tired, everyone's sore, and you just see D Russ, just running past people, floating past people, just controlling the game. And this is his first couple of weeks on campus. You're like, oh man, like okay, like yeah, there's something different about you. So D Russ was yeah, man, he's special, bro. There's really no other way to put it. He's special.
He really does. Court. He really just has so many stories around him. Obviously, he's one of the best freshmen to ever come through Ohio State, let alone any campus. I remember, I was getting loosely recruited to be a walk-on during the year and during your season. You guys played West Virginia in that secret scrimmage.
Were you there
before the year? No, I wasn't there, but I got a call after because one of the coaches basically told me hey, if we don't have any roster turnover, there's not going to be a spot, whether we want you or not, there just won't be a spot for you. And he called me after that scrimmage and said, hey, there's going to be a spot because there's going to be a spot. He's leaving after this year.
Yeah, it's going to be. That's so, man, that was another time. For some reason, so I remember that scrimmage well. One, it was at West Virginia. But two, I didn't start. And I don't know if Coach Mata was trying to, prove a point or something like that, but I didn't start that day. And so I was very interested to see how this was going to go. D Rush, I think, was it 33 or 35? D Rush had some crazy number.
33 is the number that I remember.
30. D Rush had 33. I'm sure he had 8 assists, 7 threes. It's D Rush is unbelievable, unbelievable. The stuff he does on the court is ridiculous. I'm sure you've seen that pass he threw to me. He threw one at Northwestern. He threw one at Iowa. That effing the Iowa one is the only one that ever gets shown in highlights. That's the only one that ever goes viral again. I dunked the Northwestern one. The one at Iowa, like I said, you see the play happening, but you're like, okay, there's absolutely no way this ball gets through. So I'm cutting, and then the ball, spins through 6 players, and I'm like, come on, man. The ball, I'm under the rim, oh shit, I caught it. And then that's how I ended up missing the layup. But man, yeah, D Rush does stuff that's just ridiculous on the basketball floor.
So Joey mentioned the the West Virginia scrimmage, so that's kind of out there a little bit. And obviously the highlight plays. Do you have any behind the scenes Deangelo Russell stories that, you know, maybe are yet to make it out to the public and hit the wavelengths?
Behind the scenes, man, the thing you got to remember about Deangelo when he was there, man, he was 18 years old. You know, he didn't even know how good he was, man. So one of the great things about playing with Deangelo Russell at that time, one of the reasons I'm so fond of him is that, man, he was just such a good dude when he was at Ohio State, man. He really was, you know, I don't want to speak badly about me. Like, he was really a kid, man. He was really just loving his Ohio State experience, loving his college experience. You know, I don't think he knew that he was going to be that good that quick. So, man, D. Rush was just a great guy. He was my roommate on the road and everything, man. He was a cool guy.
Yeah, it's so funny because obviously, Sam, being his teammate, you got way more stories than me. But like I keep saying, all the stories that have been kind of like passed down through the staff and whoever are just so unbelievable. Obviously, I've had a chance to hang out with the guy and talk to him. Like, he's an awesome dude. There's no doubt about it. But one thing that kind of stands the test of time will always be when Coach Mata told us that, you know, he came to him when it was time to kind of make a decision to enter the draft or not. And obviously, Deangelo's projected a top 5, top 3, top 2 pick.
Right.
There's no reason to stay. And he says, Coach, I want to stay. And Coach Mata goes, no, you're fucking not. Get out of here. You know, it's the type of guy. He just loved Ohio State.
Man, no, he really, like, one thing about it, even when he was, because, you know, I wasn't like reading Deangelo Russell's draft where, like, I didn't have his experience, but like, I'm like, it is impossible to avoid the chatter. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure people were in his ear telling him and stuff. And even, you know, later on in the season when he got really, really good, still just a dude that, you know, loved being in the locker room, loved playing ball, loved being with his teammates, you know, same cool ass guy that was there, man. So, man, D. Russell, he was a joy to play with for real. And again, I cannot stress this enough. That dude is special on the basketball court. So, yeah, that's, he's different.
So you obviously had a long Ohio State career. It's almost like you played with like different generations of Ohio State basketball players. So
I stretched a long time. I got the tail end of William Buford's career, and then the D. Russ experience, man. So I was there for a while.
You're in everyone's, you know, Ohio State family tree, and if it would have been COVID, you might have been able to stretch a 5th or 6th year out of it.
Might have pulled a David Lighty. Ended up the winningest player, the most appearances. I think I have like the 2nd most appearances or something like that. Because even though I did not play a lot my freshman year, I touched the floor every single game. I'm at like 146 or something like that, and Lighty might be like 160.
So in all the games and all the environments you played in, what do you think the craziest atmosphere of any game, or if you remember the place more specifically, in your opinion?
I can give you the place and the game. So I didn't play a lot of the game. I played like 45 seconds, but without question, the loudest gym I remember is Fog Allen at Kansas. Oof. That spot was ridiculous. So I think we might have been number 2 or something like that. They might have been number 3. And at the time, the big matchup was supposed to be Sully and Thomas Robinson. Sully ended up not playing. I don't even remember what it was at that time, but that gym was still loud as hell. But a close second would have been, is this my freshman year or sophomore year? It's my freshman year at Indiana. So this is Indiana as they were under Tom Crean, as they were getting nice again. And this was, I think my sophomore year, they were preseason number 1 in the country. That was when they had Halls, Watford, Victor Oladipo's last year, Cody Zella's last year, Yogi Ferrell was there. But the year before that, man, the fans were so eager for them to be good, and they'd been bad for so many years before that. I will never forget a play in the first half was possibly the 2nd loudest gym I've ever been in. Victor Oladipo ripped Kraft and went and dunked it. He ripped him in the backcourt and went and dunked it. And this was, I think that might have been my first true road game or my 2nd true road game. The gym got so unbelievably loud. And, you know, Joe, you've been there a bunch of times. Indiana's bleachers look like when you're on the court, they look like they go straight up. So man, that was Indiana, Assembly Hall, Indiana is the spot in the Big Ten that sticks out for me.
So do you think, obviously that was the singular moment. Do you think Indiana's the best environment in the Big Ten?
Indiana, the thing about Indiana is they fell off a little bit after my sophomore year. So they were still good, but they were not elite. So the environment wasn't as loud. I think consistently, Michigan State may have been the best environment in the Big Ten when we were there. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that they just stayed good for 4 years. It's definitely between Indiana and Michigan State. I remember Indiana more early in my career when they were like really, you know, top 5 in the country. But yeah, man, those two stand out.
It's funny how from like generation to generation, it's different because Indiana was really good my freshman year and it was really loud there, but it was also winter break. So like there weren't
Right.
And then they stunk the rest of my time at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like the atmosphere wasn't that good. Michigan State was always good, but we kind of stunk. So like then the atmosphere wasn't that good. But what was consistent for me is that Purdue was the loudest place each and every time.
That's what they say. So the year before I got there, that was Johnny D and Dave Lighty and all those guys. And did Purdue beat them that year? Am I tripping? I know Wisconsin beat them. They lost in the Big Ten tournament. I think Purdue may have beaten them that year because they were 34-3. And they say that Purdue was unbelievably loud, which it was. You know, it was a loud spot, but it doesn't stick out to me in the same way.
Interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't stick out. It's for me, it's Indiana and Michigan State.
Joey's mentioned a bunch of times. Obviously, Michigan's the big rival, but he's like, I hate Penn State. I hated playing Penn State. Do you have a team that maybe, you know, an average Ohio State fan wouldn't expect that you were like, I hate playing these guys?
Maryland. I did not like Maryland. You know what? It was so they got into the conference, I think my senior year, but we played them in the Big Ten ACC Challenge my junior year. And the only thing I remember, we were coming off of 2 really good seasons. Went to the Final Four my freshman year. We got upset in the Elite Eight my sophomore year. We had a couple of Big Ten championships. At that time, we were like, we started my junior season 15-0. We played Maryland early on, so you know, let's call it 7-0 or whatever. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like at that point, we're consensus top 3 team in the country, and Mark Turgeon had some quote in the newspaper talking about no, we're gonna come into Ohio State and beat them, blah blah blah. No one on Ohio State's team would start on Maryland except for Aaron Craft, and that's only because our starting point guard is injured right now. I'm like, what? Like, who is this guy? And so it's just like my mission for the next 2 years was just to beat Maryland as bad as I could. I just had an unreasonable dislike for the University of Maryland when I was there.
It's a great answer. We're not a big fan of Turgeon on this podcast either. So don't.
Yeah, okay. I don't know who sponsors what, whose uncle is who, but okay. As long as you guys don't like Mark Turgeon either, man. I was not a Mark Turgeon fan.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like a couple of years ago, he had that comment about Caleb Wesson being a bully and whatever. Like he doesn't get the same foul calls, blah blah blah. So yeah, Turgeon. You know, the running joke on Twitter was that Maryland was in Turgatory when he was the coach, which is hilarious. So yeah, I mean, we're not the biggest Turgeon fans. There's no doubt about it. But we do need to talk before we let you go a little bit about this year's team.
For sure.
And I know before we started recording, you mentioned how this has been a team that you've kind of been locked into more so maybe than other years. I'm wondering first and foremost, what you've gotten out of this season so far. What are your early takeaways, and what do you think moving forward for this team?
My biggest early takeaway, honestly, I don't want to sound cliche because I'm sure everyone says this, but it's how much better EJ has gotten. And EJ, was he Big Ten Player of the Year last year?
No,
he was first team. He was first team. So EJ was already first team All Big Ten last year. You know what I'm saying? He already put up crazy numbers. And there's no comparison between last year EJ and this year EJ, man. He's playing at an unbelievably high level. Even the Nebraska game, I think he shot 2 of 15 or something like that. Might have ended up with 10 points or something, which is a bad night for him, but he still had 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 blocks, man. He was still making plays. There's not a shot that he doesn't have offensively. He might be leading the Big Ten in blocks. He's rebounding the ball at a high level. He's really leading the team. So the biggest thing that's sticking out right now is EJ's progression from a first-team All Big Ten player to a legitimate National Player of the Year frontrunner. And then also something I was thinking about earlier today is I really like it. I have mixed feelings about it, but it's really interesting to see how many other guys have stepped up. You see Michi, who made a big shot in Florida. You see Malachi, obviously just had 35 against Nebraska. Jamari's really stepped up. He's really been turned into a solid player for us. Zed has been playing huge ball. Has some big nights, really playing well. So, EJ is obviously the clear-cut leader, but we have had multiple guys this season step up and really win us basketball games, really make plays for us. So I think that bodes well for them in March.
One thing that I think is kind of funny about this team and for you is obviously you've been able to see them, but you haven't been able to meet any of these guys, right? Have you had a chance?
I actually met him. Because we all came down there this summer.
Right. Good.
We had the vet week this summer, but this is the first team that I've spent this type of time with since maybe 17 or 18.
Yeah.
And
it's funny because I live in Columbus, so it's a little bit different. Like I still am connected to these guys because I hosted EJ when I was a senior in college. And
right.
Jimmy Sotos is from down the street from me. So
he went to Conant, right?
Yeah, he went to Conant. We played him like twice when I was in school, which is hilarious. His older brother, Danny, is one of my good buddies. We played AAU stuff together. So it's funny seeing him at Ohio State. But all that to say is I'm still kind of connected to these guys. Like for you, beyond Ohio State, maybe Kyle Young is the only guy that you were like, damn, I remember when, I had a summer to work out with Kyle. You know what I mean? Is it?
I miss Kyle. I'm old, man. I got old. I miss Kyle. Kyle was there. I think he came 2 years. He never played for that amount, did he?
No. I'm just saying, you crossed paths with me when I was in school, and I had Kyle obviously for 2 years, but never, the summers after Kyle was there were summers where players weren't coming in because of COVID. So I just think it's pretty wild that a lot of these guys haven't had a chance to kind of mingle with the vets.
Right. But you know what? That's it's true, and that's why I said this is probably the team that I've followed the most in the last couple of years, just because I know them personally. But man, that's why that vet week that we did this summer was so dope, man. It was good to see everybody back in the gym, good to hang around the guys, good to meet the guys, good to hang out with the coaches and stuff. So just building that connection back again. Keeping that pipeline together. So that was a dope thing. But man, you're absolutely right. I didn't play with any of these guys. I didn't come to work out in the summer with any of these guys. COVID has been popping into year 3 of COVID, or the 3rd calendar year of COVID, man. So it's been wild, man. It has not been the same as far as the veterans and the former Ohio State players being able to come back and kick it with the current team.
I got one final question for you.
Yeah, man.
You mentioned the vet week. So obviously you still talk with the guys. No TBT for Sam Thompson?
No man, look, I have no idea what's going on with TBT, man. It is TBD what the actual tournament does, and TBD what the Ohio State roster is gonna look like, man. It's a couple of guys are getting a little older. Johnny D retired. Kraft is, knee deep in med school right now. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what that TBT roster looks like, man. But we'll see. I'm always down to play with them. My number's called. I'm always down, and I'm always down to put the scarlet and the gray back on. So we'll see.
We know some guys, so we'll pull some strings for you.
You let me know, man. You let me know. I'll stay in shape. What is it? July?
July.
Yeah, man. I'll make sure I'll be in shape, man. I'll tell the manager and Joey put the word in. So I'll be ready to go.
Perfect. Well, Sam, I got one more question for you, and I really, well, there's two parts to this, and either answer is acceptable. Do you remember the first time that we met?
Was it at Northwestern?
Okay, so that's the real answer, which is insane. Andrew, I'll send you the picture. There's a picture of me like a freshman in high school, maybe 8th grade, like with Sam asking him for a picture. Like we sat next to his mom during the game. And she was like, "Oh, I'll make sure Sam takes a picture with you after the game." And I was like, over the moon. I mean, the guy from Chicago playing on my favorite team, like, I got to get a picture of him. So I have a picture with him, Lenzel, and Kraft from that night. But follow up, do you remember the first time that we actually, it's not when I was in school, but it's before then. Do you remember meeting on campus at Ohio State?
If you tell me when we met, I might, but no, I don't.
If I tell you where we met, it gives it away, but it was at Five Guys. And it also—
Were you there with when I was with my uncle?
So the story is, we come in my freshman year of high school, we come in to see you guys play at Northwestern. It's the first time I've ever been on Ohio State's campus. After the game, you guys blew them out.
Yeah.
After the game, everything was closed.
That's the only time we ever blew out Northwestern too.
Yeah, I know. It's the same. We never blew them out either when I was there, but after the game, the only place that was really open on campus or whatever was Five Guys. So we went to Five Guys, and we're sitting down, and you and LeQuinn come in, and I was like, holy shit, like, this can't be happening. Like, this is unbelievable. I was like, hey, Mom, like, look at his hat. Like, he's from Chicago. He's wearing a Whitney Young hat. Like, I remember this so vividly. It's crazy. And
me and Q with the post-game meal of champions.
Exactly, right? So then you and Q are rolling in there, and that's not technically the first time we met, but that's like still a very funny story. When you fast forward to me being an Ohio State basketball player,
right?
That's just unbelievable.
That's dope as hell, man. I don't no, I didn't. So I remember the Northwestern game. I remember being at the Northwestern game and taking the pic. And I think you sent me that picture like some years later.
Yeah, I sent you. I found it like a couple years ago, and I sent you like Merry Christmas with them.
Yeah. I think you sent me that picture some years later. But I don't remember the Five Guys one. But man, that's shit, to be young, man. To play a basketball game and go eat Five Guys and be able to just be cool with it, man. Yeah, I can't do that anymore, man. The body doesn't quite recover the same way. You got to take care of your body a little more now that you're in your late 20s. That's tough.
You remember the first time we met?
I will if you remind me.
It was 35 minutes ago on this Zoom.
Yeah, man. On Zoom. There you go.
All right, we got to end this how we always end it. So, Sam, what we do is we flip the roles around, flip it on you. Do you have any questions for us before we let you go? Yeah, man.
I got two. Joey Lane, Drive the Lane podcast. Joey Lane, do you have a favorite two-parter? Do you have a favorite Ohio State basketball memory? And then do you specifically have a favorite Joey Lane Ohio State basketball memory?
He's never talked about either.
Absolutely. There's so many great memories, and I could do a cop-out of like going to the NCAA tournament for the first time, winning an NCAA tournament game. Like that's what everyone's
doing. That shit.
The best game I've ever been a part of, 100,000% at Purdue. My junior year.
At Purdue. Was that the Kata Bates game winner?
Exactly. Kata's senior year. My junior year, no Cam Williams. We went in there ranked like 13th in the country. They were like second in the country, and we won on that buzzer beater, and that was unbelievable. My parents were there. I mean, it was just unbelievable. So that's my favorite. Who
was on that? Was that was Isaac Haas the big?
Isaac Haas, Matthias,
that would have been Matthias, Vince Edwards. Was who's the little guard? Was Carson Edwards there?
Thompson, Carson Edwards, Ryan Klein, all those guys.
Yeah, man. Purdue was tough. Shit. So another way, not to hijack your question, another way for you guys to tell how long I was at Ohio State, man. I caught Robbie Hummel at Purdue. I played against Robbie when he was at Purdue. So shit, man, I'm old.
That's wild. Yeah,
that's pretty old.
Robbie's been on the show, so that's.
I'm old, man. I'm old. In my defense, Robbie was like a 6-year mega red shirt, but
Robbie's older than you. Yeah, I mean he's talking about old college players. Doesn't get any older.
Not to hijack it from both of you guys, but that night when Ohio State beat Purdue, I think I put like $10 on Ohio State to win 13. So pretty big night.
Hey man, it's a big night for all involved. For all parties involved. That was a night.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite Ohio State moment. Obviously, I didn't play in that game. Selfishly, I think there's a couple games. Like there was a game against Purdue Fort Wayne where I got like kind of extended minutes in my kind of garbage time role, where I like had the craziest per 40 stat line like ever. I had like 5 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals in like 4 minutes of playing. So that's a good one. But then
pace for 35, 20, and 15 triple-double. That's solid.
Exactly.
That's solid production.
But my actual favorite moment probably was playing in St. John. We beat Cleveland State pretty good. The atmosphere
that's some bullshit.
Insane. And I came in at the end of the game and made a shot, and it was by far the loudest moment of a home game that I can remember.
Me, Kraft, Shannon, we asked Egelhoff to let us play at St. John every day before. We asked, the 2 big things we used to ask for were black jerseys and to play at St. John. Yep. And as soon as I leave, they do a game every year at St. John. And then I think, was it last year or this year when they got the black jerseys?
Last year.
That's tough. That's a sore spot for me.
I wouldn't be too mad because like there's a bunch of things that I could tell you that I ask for all the time that they're going to start doing, that they've done, or just like black jerseys, or they're going to start doing like a Midnight Madness type deal. Like they're going to, like, there's a lot of things that I asked for 4 years that now they're going to start doing or already did. So trust me, we just sound old. Like when we say stuff like that.
We old as hell. Midnight Madness would have been dope, man. I don't think I ever, because another thing, I don't want to date myself even more. We weren't allowed to dunk in the layup lines when I was in college. So I could like go up and windmill and then I'd have to stop and just drop the ball. But I never got to, really do anything crazy like at the shot, like outside. No Midnight Madness dunk contest, no layup line dunks, anything like that. So that would have been dope.
We had Buckeyes at the blacktop. That was good. I
remember that. I rember you guys had some good pictures. You won the 3-point contest.
Exactly. It's like my main claim to fame is that I won against Kelsey Mitchell too, which is kind of a big deal.
Oh shit! I didn't realize you. I knew you beat Jaquan. I didn't realize you beat Kelsey.
It was me, Mark, Jaquan, and Kelsey, I think, and then I won.
That's tough.
And, it's so dumb. Oh, it was outside, and there were like 200 people there. It was just
that was an interesting decision. That was an interesting moment in our program, but
yeah, no doubt. All right, Sam. Any questions for Andrew before we let you go?
Andrew, I don't want to make this about Joey, but do you have a favorite Joey Lane fan moment when you were watching Joey at Ohio State? Were you like, shit, that's my boy. That's what I need.
All I would do is, so I went to Mizzou and there were a couple players on the Mizzou team that Joey and I actually either played with or played against growing up. And
Who was at Mizzou when you were there?
A lot of
named Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, Michael Porter Jr.
Oh, okay, that was
he played. He played 2 games, so that's why that's not the first name that comes to my mind. But like, I Kevin Purrier was like a 4-year starter when I was there. Literally my freshman. Jeremiah Tillman. Those are kind of the big staples.
Who's the coach? Was it Conzo the whole time?
No, it was Kim Anderson first. And now it's Conzo Martin. But Adam Wolf, who was from Lake Forest, but then transferred to like Wisconsin, somewhere in Wisconsin. Every time I saw him, for some reason, I would send Joey a Snapchat of it. And like Joey and I would text I would text Joey during moments that I knew he was probably busy. Like during Kata's year where he got drafted, I was like texting Joey like, hey, when do you think Kata's going to get drafted? But Joey always answered. And I actually wrote a story about Joey for Rivals. I think it was our junior year. So that was pretty cool.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Lots of
Big
Joey
time.
memories.
Lots of Joey memories. Joe, you might have been the biggest star on that team before Cater's senior year.
Yeah, I mean, there was not a lot to cheer for, not a lot to root for.
Yeah, you might have been the biggest celebrity on that team.
Yeah, we it would have been fun to have NIL back then. That's kind of my main pain point of
Joey, I would have been effing selling Slam shirts at halftime.
Oh my God, unreal. Oh my God, the Sam Thompson homage shirts would be off the hook.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Is there a good Dunkin' Donuts on campus, like that people go to?
Is there a Dunkin' Donut? People go to Buckeye Donut. I don't know if there is a Dunkin' Donut.
There's a couple Starbucks on campus, but I don't think
there's some Starbucks. There's a Brugger's. There's a.
Well, I'm saying Dunkin' Donuts because like Dunk.
Yeah. Sure.
You're like naming all the coffee shops.
we put that together. But yeah, man, I don't think we have a Dunkin'. I'm trying to. Yeah. I don't remember going to Dunkin' Donuts in college.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it was a good run, little celebrity status for a little bit. Never hurt anybody.
Yeah, man.
I was the homeless guy at the end of the bench. Easy to root for.
Yeah, always easy to root for.
All right, man. This was an awesome interview. We appreciate it. We'll get you in TBT. And there's this little thing called the Drive the Lane bump, where if you come on the show, good things happen. So I see a 10-day contract in your near future.
Hey man, if I get a 10-day, we're doing something wild for Drive the Lane, so we'll make it happen.
All right, Sam.
We appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely, we'll have you back on.
Come back anytime, man. Yeah, man. Good luck.
Sure. Take care.
Yeah, man. See you guys.